appear just in one budget. The other professional services in employee safety, or it's part of employee relations now, but in employee development is $54,000 next year. So some of that is going to be mandatory, some of that is going to be non-mandatory. We can't easily identify which is which. I don't know if we heard anything back from Public Health and Human Services. We didn't hear back from them in terms of what they might have. But as it is, every department likely has some training funds in their budget, and we can't put a total on it. We know it's larger than $54,000, probably quite a bit larger, but we can't tell you how much.
Excuse me, David.
Sure.
Commissioners, is that the budget notes attached to this number sheet gives an explanation.
Yeah. The Public Health and Human Services out-of-home placement number, that's still there. That would be a guess. They said that they thought that we might be under budget in that regard, but that's again, that's a number that's a cost that's sufficiently volatile, so you don't really know. The unspecified cuts in elected officials' budget, that was also brought up at the last meeting. The 12.5% cut in overtime budgets, we have a number to assign to that. That would be $390,000 approximately. That's a budgeted overtime amount next year. We also raised the issue, or the issue was raised on the attorney's position. That is also on that list. The motor pool dual rate. That's a tougher one in that Public Works tells us, for a couple of reasons, that it's going to take some time to implement that. The two reasons are the online reservation system can't tell you when a car is available and when it's not, and it's not used in a lot of cases. And it's not used at all in Virginia, and only sometime in Duluth. They've got to tie that into the new accounting system, they're telling us, and but it's probably going to be sometime in the next year and maybe up to a year before they're able to set up that system. The other issue that they raised is development of accounting policy. How do you deal with a case where somebody is in Ely, the nearest car is in Virginia, they have to drive to Virginia to get to the car? How far does someone have to go to pick up a county car? That sort of thing, those sorts of issues. And that would be something that they feel anyway was going to delay any kind of implementation of the dual rate. The cell phones replace the payment with stipend. There's surprisingly not an awful lot of money in cell phone costs, at least as we've been able to determine the last week, or last couple of weeks. It looks like the total amount spent on cell phones is about $161,000 for 419 contracts. The average contract cost is about $32 a month. They've gotten wonderfully creative in terms of using partnerships with where someone in public health, you do that like friends and family, those kinds of plans where you get a phone and then your wife can get a phone or your kid gets a phone and you get a lower rate. They've done that in public health and human services to the point that the average phone cost on a monthly rate is $16.
Reminds me of the old party lines.
There is an issue out there in terms of the stipend, in terms of the taxability of these of phones. Any personal use is taxable, and we kind of skated on that a little bit in terms of, I think the policy had been, if you don't go over your allotted minutes, you don't have to comment. You can't do that. You can't do that anymore. So we have been working with the auditor, with MIS, and the attorney's office to figure out a way that we can legally comply with IRS, follow IRS regulations, so that you're probably going to wind up paying stipend for some people. Other people, if it's 100% county use, and we can guarantee that, and it's a job condition, we probably can keep doing what we have been doing. But it's very clear that the IRS isn't going to let us buy with the system that we had been using, or people had been using in the past. The other items on the list, it's self-explanatory. The MACV housing, 35,000 came up last week. The Historical Society, additional 6,000. Veterans Memorial Hall, the air show, and the SEED, which is the Coalition for
Eco-Industrial Development.
Okay. Those items and all that, the footnote there only says that these kinds of things have been funded in the past from economic development funds that pointed out that depending on how you count, there may be only about $75,000 available in economic development funds next year. So that's the list, and this is what we've reviewed. One item that did come in since then that you got a separate email on, and that is a phase-in for the veterans range women's advocate rent increase over a 4-year period. And these costs would need to be replaced somehow within the budget. So that's the gist of the budget adjustments, at least the work that we have done so far. We have a lot of items that departments have offered up in terms of reductions. All of them are real reductions. The question is whether we go past that and whether those are needed. To come in with the original $700,000, it does not appear that they are. But for example, Public Works came back with some of the items that they had in their supplemental budget. Public Health and Human Services had some items that they thought that the reductions were possible, so people did follow through. Planning, all departments had some, all levy-related departments, I should say, came back with some potentials. You also have, this is the budget message and the summary documents for the budget book that you'll be getting on Monday. You might want to write draft across the top of this because we're going to try to incorporate decisions today as best we can. And into the budget and the budget resolution. You all also should have gotten copies of the budget resolution sent out to you, when we sent them yesterday. And they're emailed yesterday. They're in your board packet, which you received. Or if you had emailed yesterday, you may have received an email today. So, as you wish, we would try to incorporate as many of these into the budget resolution on Tuesday. So the budget resolution you got, you might want to write draft across the top of that one, so you get a changes to incorporate.
Okay, well, before we move into, I think we should first talk about the expenditure side. I think given that we have the additional dollars, revenues spent and adjustments offset all but $113,291 of what was identified. So that's really our target. And a couple other things that I think I want to add to the agenda for us to talk about that have budgetary impact would be I think, did they need to clarify this, the management compensation study recommendations? Has to be addressed as it affects few employees. And the auto allowance adjustment issue, which we get about, and that needs to be addressed as either part of this budget resolution as an amendment or separately. But will have a budgetary effect. So,
Okay.
add those to the list for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess I want to make a comment on the range women's advocates piece because the increase that was given to them was a 100% increase, and I think it's important that we afford them the opportunity to be able to seek additional grants, additional funding, and the other thing that was also mentioned in the letter is it's in front of you. Tony has met with that group again. They are going to be reducing their square footage significantly to bring that down. That was part of my discussions with them that there is some additional space that we actually need in that building, and they were willing to do that. Tony's going to do a couple of minor changes. I would ask that we shift those numbers 1 year because my hope was that we would not increase them in a way, give them a way to get their grants in line, and then make those subsequent decreases in 09, 10, and 11 so that they would get full rent when they hit 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, Keith, with the reduction in their space, that would bring their rent